I think we all know some abilities in Valorant that don't seem to fit in at times, and there's always a constant discussion going on with how certain abilities need to be played around, and sometimes when a certain ability is even useful. That's why today, we're going to talk about why some abilities may need changes, and what some proposed solutions could be. What is going on, ProGuides family? It is your host Sergeant Frost, and today we have 8 agent abilities that could use some balancing in the current meta. Let's not waste any more time and hop right into it. The first ability up on today's list is Jett's Tailwind, or her dash. Jett's dash is a highly controversial ability in the community right now, with how efficiently it commands space, and how amazing it is for disengaging fights. Jett's dash gets rid of trading against her because she has a get out of jail free card that allows her to reposition instantly if she gets caught. And while that's not necessarily a feature that the game can't include, but it's currently one of the options that seems to apply specifically to Jett, and includes mobility and versatility at the same time. While agents like Reyna and Yoru can almost do the same, Yoru's cast time is much longer and he can't shoot and teleport out, while Reyna has no mobility with it, meaning she could still easily be chased down. With Jett, she has an all-in-one skill that disengages, has high mobility, allows for off angles, and also can be used for creating space as well. Once the player base caught on to how Jett could utilize the exceptional versatility of her dash, in came the Jett AWP meta, and this has been the meta ever since. One of the biggest contributors to how her dash feels oppressive in some games is when it's paired with the AWP due to its low time to kill. As such, it seems like if we want to help balance this, it has to target the combo of her interaction with the AWP specifically. We think a potential solution for this would be to make her dash distance dependent on the weight of the weapon she has. This allows her to still have dash for most purposes, but could balance her AWPing prowess to at least be tradable in more situations. But of course, there are many other ways to balance an agent's ability as well. That's why our question of the day is, if you could balance any ability, what would you propose as a change? Since we're covering abilities already, I'm going to talk about a mechanic instead, which is combat stims. I feel like currently, combat stims are a double-edged sword because it makes you shoot faster, but also messes with your recoil and control as well. As such, many people hesitate when using it. I think if they could make the stim buff actually still mirror the weapon's typical control, then it would make it a lot more viable to use. Let us know what you would change and what abilities you think need balancing. If you have ever played Yoru, you also know how polarizing his footsteps can be at times. There are some very niche uses like for faking bind teleports, but apart from that, his footsteps are more or less dead weight for the credits to buy it. As such, we think that Yoru's footsteps definitely need a little buffing to fit his playstyle more, and also provide some more general uses as well. I think some issues that could be targeted would be the footstep sound, and also the interactions it has within the game. Making his footsteps sound completely real is just a small fix that could help a lot, and it could make fake executes created by Yoru a whole lot more convincing. Another way you could change Yoru's footsteps is to make them interact with the environment more. What we mean by this is to make his footsteps turn into an actual decoy that interacts with the world around it. If Yoru's footsteps function like a decoy in a way where it triggered traps, it could find a lot more usability for either challenging a sentinel setup or sniffing out traps. This would also give a unique ability for Yoru to actually outplay his opponents, because the footsteps can function as a bait rather than just false information. So if your footsteps can find a tripwire, the Cypher might peek thinking it's actually Yoru, only to peek into him at another angle. But of course, Yoru is confirmed for changes by Riot, so it's only a matter of time before we see a potentially new and improved anime protagonist in our roster. That's why if you want to become a master of the new Yoru, or any new meta for that matter, you'll have to rely on your player fundamentals to carry you. Luckily, we can help with that. Come visit our website ProGuides.com, where our Radiant and Immortal level coaches are more than excited to share with you their experience and fundamental knowledge to help you adapt to any meta. We also have courses written by pro players that can give you a crash course at mastering the fundamentals as well. If improving quickly and efficiently sounds interesting to you, then make sure to come check us out. OMEN's Blind has made it on our list not because this ability is bad for gameplay, but rather because of its bad netcode and wonky bugged interactions that players frequently experience when it's used against them. Let's cut to the chase. OMEN's Blind is coded in a weird way where its visual model is very misleading. What we mean by that is that his blind's visual hitbox does not align with its real hitbox, and that can be incredibly frustrating to deal with. Oftentimes on your screen, it looks like you've dodged OMEN's blind, but as soon as it passes by you, you still somehow get hit. Simply put, OMEN's hitbox on his blind is broken, and it needs to be addressed so that it doesn't end up getting players killed because they were visually misled. This probably requires more of a visual fix rather than an in-game balance change, but it's something that would definitely help, especially with how OMEN is in the meta right now. One agent that has been a hot topic in the Valorant meta is the newest agent KO. KO introducing a suppression mechanic into the game was a huge step towards counterplay against the post-plant meta and sentinel setups. Having the capability to take away other people's abilities is a strong form of CC that I don't think we fully understand just yet. What I mean by that is in the future, if Riot starts to introduce more medium to smaller size maps, KO suppression could become quite a powerful tool. But one thing that we know is a little crazy for KO is how his suppression cancels agent ultimates like Jett, Raze, and Sova. In the case of Jet, it's more or less fine because she can take out her knives after the effect ends, but since Raze and Sova's ultimate has a set duration, being suppressed during your ultimate basically means you lost it completely. In those cases, it seems a little strange for a mechanic like this to directly counter abilities to that extent, easily rendering 8 ultimate points completely wasted. As such, it seems like certain aspects of suppression need to be looked at. In my opinion, the suppress effect should not be able to completely remove an agent's ultimate as a counter, but perhaps delay it instead, just like it does for basically every other ability. But who knows, maybe this is part of a delicate balancing plan by Riot. The next agent we will talk about will have 2 abilities on this list, and I think you all can understand why. Killjoy has been a staple in the meta ever since she was released because of the prowess she had on defense. It seems like no matter how much the devs try to nerf her, they can't quite evict her from the meta, and I think that is a testament to how strong her defensive game is in practice. With that being said, we think Killjoy's turret, while a unique addition to Killjoy's kit, introduces a unique annoyance during pistol rounds. Here's why. Killjoy's turret has a certain set amount of HP, and it does a set amount of damage. In pistol rounds, since weapons are semi-automatic and deal less damage, the amount of time it takes to kill a turret is greater. Also, since pistol rounds mean that people have lower HP, the turret does more damage relatively to health. As such, it seems that at times, the turret can be very annoying to deal with, that might even need slight changing. One thing we propose is to have it die to a set amount of hits, while also still having an HP pool. That way, ops can break it with one shot, but weaker guns like classics can still break it after 3 or 4 hits. Also, lowering the range at which it spots people could give it more counterplay so that enemies could take it down from afar without the threat of shooting them as soon as they come into line of sight, like from B main to Cat on Ascent. Now that we are done talking about Killjoy's turret, let's go into her next ability that could use some tweaking, which you might be able to guess, her ultimate. As it stands, the entire Valorant community has a general consensus that Killjoy's ultimate is currently the best ultimate in the game. The reason it is so strong on a macro level is because it gives you total free map control with the press of one button, and all enemies in the area have to respect it or else they won't be able to control their agent at all for the next 8 seconds. There are no abilities in the game currently that can make an entire enemy team have to play around something with so much influence as a KJ lockdown. So how would we propose changing this ability while still allowing it to be powerful? Well, first, if we decrease the radius of its effects, it would greatly reduce how oppressive it can be at times. As it stands, with the exception of the bomb sites on Breeze, Killjoy's ultimate covers the entirety of every bomb site on every map, and apart from rushing in to break it or commanding an enemy ultimate to counter it, you're basically forced to retake. Having a smaller radius that does not cover most of the bomb sites in game could make her ultimate less oppressive, because it could disrupt the enemy team's positioning, but still give some options to play around, while a well-placed ultimate still gives your team information on where the enemy cannot be. As we move along, we aren't done with critiquing the Sentinel agents just yet. Let's talk about an ability you will see in your games more often than not, the Sage Wall. Sage Wall is a weird ability because it has gone through so many buffs, nerfs, and overall changes, and it still seems to have the same issues that have plagued it since beta. Let's put it like this, the wall is losing its identity because it has some very niche uses, while also almost shaping the meta. In certain situations, the wall makes map control almost impossible. For example, using long walls to clog areas like Kitchen Tube Icebox, Tube Area on Breeze, or Garage Entrance on Haven is just too good to pass up. Another thing is that the wall is so commonly used that certain strategies just require a Sage Wall, such as taking B site on Icebox. If you don't have it, you pretty much can't plant the spike. One fix that we think could be interesting would be to make the wall bangable from the sides. So for instance, if the wall is placed lengthwise, people can shoot through it from the side and hit the wall behind it slightly as well. This makes the wall great for getting general map control, while not making it cut off a part of the map completely for 40 seconds. A Sage on defense can quickly throw her wall up to stop a rush and maintain area control, but she can't just throw a lengthwise wall that requires 4,000 damage to break. And finally, we have Skye's ultimate. As it stands, Skye's ultimate is a nice tool for info gathering, but its main purpose was meant for map control and suppression, and it currently can't do that because of how easily it gets destroyed. Skye's ultimate should feel much scarier and threatening if it was actually capable of threatening enemies, instead of just dying to a small burst from a rifle. It doesn't help that the Seekers makes a lot of noise, which gives the enemies ample time to destroy it before it even poses a threat. A potential fix for this could be to give the Seekers more health, so that they actually have a chance to hit their target instead of getting destroyed right off the rip. Also, you could lower the sound of the Seekers, and take their presence off the minimap so that the enemies have less info as to where they are and how close it's getting. This could drastically improve Skye's ultimate and make it something that could potentially give attackers opportunities, rather than just information about the enemy's whereabouts. Well, that is all we have for 8 abilities that we think need changes. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like and subscribe to keep up to date with the latest Valorant news, updates, and guides. Also, make sure to check out our website for truly amazing on-demand coaching. This has been your host, Sergeant Frost, and I'll see you all again in the next video.